So I want to thank everybody for coming for this discussion. And I want to first of all thank our hosts, Prabhu and Mataji, for organizing this program. So it is today we started by chanting the prayers that Srila Prabhupada taught us to chant before every time when we try to have a discussion. This beautiful bhajan, short bhajan of Jai Radha Madhav. And in these 4 lines of Jai Radha Madhav, the bhajan allows us to remember Lord Krishna. It's a very short bhajan, but in a sense, if we meditate just on these 4 lines, it describes the various pastimes of Lord Krishna in the essence. His relationship with the Brajvasis, his relationship with Nanda Maharaj, his relationship with the gopis, and his mood in Vrindavan. Of course, I'm not qualified to understand the mood of Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. It's a very elevated stage of consciousness. But by simply chanting, when we all come back from different walks of life during the day, working, doing so many responsibilities, performing kirtan, especially the Hare Krishna mantra, Maha Mantra, allows us to little bit purify our consciousness and disconnect from all the tensions. So trying to disconnect the mind from all the tensions is a very, very difficult task. If anybody is able to do that, give you a formula, then they will receive the Nobel Prize for Peace. Why is that? Because if you can know how to remain peaceful, then you can be peaceful in every walk of life. You can be peaceful at home, no fighting at home, not upsetting children, not upsetting your wife or husband. You can be peaceful. The countries will be peaceful, no fighting. No fighting between neighbors before the country. It's peace inside home, peace between neighbors, and peace in the community, peace in the world. Right? Srila Prabhupada used to say we try to come up with so many peace formulas of trying to solve the problems of this world, but he said we miss the point. If one is not peaceful internally, how can you solve any problems? So Srila Prabhupada said, this Krishna consciousness movement is the solution to all the problems. And the most important aspect that was offered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was to chant the holy name, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, coming together loudly and chanting. So today, I want to read from Bhagavad Gita as it is, and I will read a verse. After that, we'll have question answers. If you want to discuss a particular topic, you can please ask me straightforward. Okay? If I'm able to, I will address the topic. So I understand that we're going to have 2 sessions, and my focus on these 2 sessions is primarily going to be on how to control the difficulties of the mind. We'll try, at least we'll try to understand what Bhagavad Gita's instructions are, and we will then try to see how to practically apply it. You can ask me questions. How should we practically apply it to reach that stage? I would try to cover 3 verses from the Bhagavad Gita as it is in our session today and tomorrow. And if possible, we'll also do one bhajan from our Vaishnavacharyas. So the first verse that we'll read is from Bhagavad Gita as it is. And I request everybody to invoke the blessings of Lord Vasudeva by chanting along with me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So we'll read from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, chapter 2 title Contents of the Gita summarized, and verse number 62. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangasteshu Pachayate Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangasteshu Pachayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamha Sangat Sanjayate Kamha Kamat Krodha Abhijayate Kamat Krodha Abhijayate Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangasteshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamha Kamat Krodho Abhijayate. So, word by word meaning, Dhyayatah, while contemplating, Vishayan, sense objects, Pumsaha, of a person, Sangha, attachment, Teshu, in the sense objects, Upajayate, develops, Sangat, from attachment, Sanjayate, develops, Kamaha, desire, Kamat, from desire, Krodha, anger, Abhijayate, becomes manifest. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises. Purport. One who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. The senses require real engagement, and if they're not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism. In the material world, everyone, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to say nothing of other demigods in the heavenly planets, is subjected to the influence of sense objects. So, Srila Prabhupada, in his purport, starts by describing a person who's not Krishna conscious. So, a person who's not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the object of the senses. So, now we have to take a reality check. Right at the beginning, this is the second chapter, and Srila Prabhupada is saying who's Krishna conscious and who's not Krishna conscious. And we are all here trying to remember Krishna. We are trying to attach our heart and mind to Krishna's service. And when Srila Prabhupada says, subjected to material desires while contemplating the object of the senses. So we will do a personal contemplation, all of us. We don't have to share, but we have to do this exercise, very short exercise. We all have to think which are the objects of the senses we are contemplating in today's day. What are the objects of the senses we contemplated, and whether we became subjected to the material desire. Simple exercise. So let's imagine we take a car and start on the road, and you're driving a nice car, very expensive nice car. You got out on the road. So what will naturally happen is you will see cars in front of you, right? This is for the Prabhus and Mataji who are driving car. So how many of us, when there's another car in front of us, we see the car, we see the model, and we start thinking about our own car. And we start thinking how good my car is or how bad my car is compared to the car in front, compared to the car on the left, compared to the car on the right. Anybody has had this experience? All of us had this experience, right? This is a matter of just driving into a car. Next is you wear some clothes, right? And you've spent a lot of money on those clothes. You buy those clothes, you dress up nicely, and you walk out. What happens? You see somebody else in front of you, and Krishna forbid, if that person is wearing better suit than you, better shoes than you, do you observe? We observe, right? It's natural. You walk into the office, you've spent time in getting dressed nicely, and you walk in, and the person is wearing more expensive and nice suit, better tie, and this. So this is called contemplating on the sense object. So the eyes like to see something nice. You start contemplating. And the first line says that when you start contemplating, it leads to a seed form of desire to be planted in your heart. That very moment, the desire is planted of the nice car, or of the nice dress, or now of the nice phone, or now of the nice specs, nice pen, nice shoes. Now, actually, if we introspect, we are continuously bombarded by these impulses around us, right? And these desires are getting planted in our heart. What to do now? How do we overcome this situation? Any suggestions? Remembering Krishna. Prabhu said very difficult. It's a fact. It is very difficult. Very difficult. And I remember many years ago, Rasamrita Prabhu did this mime show. Many years, 10, 15 years ago. Me and my mind. Right? Mind is always running. Prabhu said we should remember Krishna. Unfortunately, if you're not, fortunately, if you're Krishna conscious, then we will remember Krishna. But for a person like me, 90% of the time, the remembrance of Krishna doesn't arise. The eyes, the ears, the tongue, etc., experiences an object, and we become desire arises. I'll give you one example, which is quite common. When I was growing up, I did not experience pizza or pasta. Right? Never really. It didn't happen, at least in the 70s, 80s, didn't happen. But then somehow the other you tasted it. And then gradually over a period of time, that desire has developed. So, Srila Prabhupada says that this, if we are in the material world, these material desires will come. The success of Krishna consciousness is how to not develop, how to not contemplate, and how not to dwell. If we start contemplating, desires are bound to arise. But if somehow or the other, all those desires, when we see something nice, at least as a basic step, if we use start thinking it in relationship to Krishna, to say, there's a nice car, it would be so nice if I can have this car to drive my spiritual master. Or it would be so nice if this car can help me deliver prasadam. If this car can help me bring somebody from some devotees or carry Lord Jagannath in this car, carry the deities. At least we can start the purification like that. But whether most of us, we struggle a lot with this. Yeah, this is the first step. Dhyayato Vishayan Punsa, contemplating on the objects of the senses. Why? Because we have Manashashtani Indriyani, we have six senses, and their role is to always be seeking the sense object. We are designed like that. So it's somebody may say it's not my fault. What can I do? I'm by design like this. But yes, we are in this material world to enjoy our senses. We had a desires. We have many, many desires. According to the desires, we got a body so that we can enjoy those desires. So what's the problem? Is there a problem with that? We want it. We got a facility. Now what's the problem?
Never ends.
Hmm?
Never ends.
What does not end?
The desire never ends.
The desire never ends. So, because these objects by definition are attracted to the senses, I mean, senses are attracted to the objects, so the objects will keep contemplating, and these seeds will keep getting planted. There is a feedback happening. So the seeds will keep getting planted, and as a result of these seeds being planted, as Prabhu said, these desires will never end. Never end. So that's the problem. But why is that a problem? It doesn't end. You have the body, you keep enjoying. Why is that a problem? Prabhu says entanglement. But most people in the world are happy with this entanglement, Prabhu. What's the issue with that? More attachment. They become frustrated, okay? Entanglement is coming. How many of us have even that stage where we feel there is frustration? Prabhu, sometimes you feel. So there is a bhoga tyaga cycle. The scriptures describe there's a tendency in our life where we really want to enjoy, and then briefly when we are frustrated, the senses cannot enjoy too much, then we have tyaga. I want tyaga. So when tyaga happens for some time, and then again, when the senses get strength again, then we want to enjoy. Right? So this cycle is going on, and Prabhu described that as the entanglement. So the real question is, what is the problem with this entanglement? We see in this world, so many people are apparently happy with this entanglement. Many people will come and ask you, what's the problem? I'm enjoying. So it was mentioned that there is some sort of a frustration that arises. Now, frustration can arise because of two reasons. One is when the senses become weak, then you feel frustrated. What you're able to do with a young body, you cannot do with an old body. Right? So that's one kind of frustration that arises. But then there's another kind of frustration that arises, which is called Athato Brahma Jigyasa. At some point in time, by Krishna's mercy, by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, an arrangement will come when somebody will trigger this thought, what am I doing? What is the purpose of this so much enjoyment? Which would be good. But as we are only discussing the first part of the verse, Dhyayato Vishyan Pumsa Sangas Teshu Upajayate. And then comes Sangat Sanjayate Kama, Kama Krodha Vijayate. Prabhu mentioned very nicely that there is frustration. Now, I think I experience this practically several times in a day. We have a certain desire, we want it fulfilled, and if it does not get fulfilled, we'll get frustrated. And after frustration, depending upon the circumstance, if the circumstance is where you're forced to keep your frustration to yourself, you'll just get internally frustrated. But the moment you come in an environment where you can let go of the frustration, it is expressed as how? Anger. Sangat sanjayate kama, kama krodha abhijayate. So, krodhat bhavati sammoha, which is the next verse it will come. But let's see. Now, we may start thinking, oh, I can overcome it. It's easy. No, it is not easy. Srila Prabhupada said in the purport so far, Srila Prabhupada writes very nicely, in the material world, everyone, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to say nothing of other demigods in the heavenly planets, is subjected to the influence of sense objects. Now, you know who Lord Brahma is. He's the one who's created everything. You know who Lord Shiva is, right? Topmost of the Vaishnavas. But Srila Prabhupada said even they are subjected. Why is Srila Prabhupada mentioning this? Because sometimes we start imagining, because, sorry, we start imagining that by practicing sadhana bhakti, I have become elevated. Nothing can touch me. I am self controlled. Very good. That is, yes, that is a result of sadhana bhakti, but we should never become proud. We should never assume I am above everything else because I'm practicing sadhana bhakti. Srila Prabhupada said even the topmost of the demigods, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they are subjected to this. Then let's read what else Srila Prabhupada says. Srila Prabhupada writes, the only method to get out of this puzzle of material existence is to become Krishna conscious. Lord Shiva was in deep meditation, but when Parvati agitated him for sense pleasure, he agreed to the proposal, and as a result, Kartikeya was born. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned in a lecture on this verse, Srila Prabhupada says, Kartikeya was born, and the demigods wanted Kartikeya to be born because he had to fight with the demons. So they really wanted Kartikeya to be born. So they give the example of the most self controlled person amongst the demigods, and when Mother Parvati came, Kartikeya was born. And now Srila Prabhupada gives a contrast. A contrast. He says, when Haridas Thakur was a young devotee of the Lord, he was similarly allured by the incarnation of Maya Devi herself. But Haridas easily passed the test because of his unalloyed devotion to Lord Krishna. As illustrated in the above mentioned verse of Sri Ramanacharya, a sincere devotee of the Lord shuns all material sense enjoyment due to his higher taste for spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord. That is the secret of success. So, first of all, Srila Prabhupada says, very, very emphatically, Prabhupada says, only method to get out of this puzzle of material existence is to become Krishna conscious. And then Srila Prabhupada gives instruction. All material sense enjoyment due to his higher taste for spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord. This is the secret of success. One who is not therefore in Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is sure ultimately to fail, for the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his desires. Srila Prabhupada started the purport by saying one who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material world, and just like a very good mathematician and a scientist, what do? They make a hypothesis, correct? First, they make a hypothesis, then they prove the theory, and then they give a conclusion. So, did you see in just one purport, Srila Prabhupada gave a hypothesis, he proved, he gave evidence, and then he gave the conclusion, and he also gave the solution. The solution is to become Krishna conscious. So, when we started the discussion, I mentioned to you that the foremost way of becoming Krishna conscious is to chant the holy name, right? And we notice what was the difference between Lord Shiva and Srila Haridas Thakur? What was Srila Haridas Thakur doing when Maya Devi came herself to allure him? He was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this happened as a fact. One night, two night, and third night, she surrendered. Right? Now we are thinking, oh, this was a very big test for Srila Haridas Thakur. Such a big allurement was happening, so he had to chant. Right? This is what is going on in our mind. But there is more to it. Maya Devi has an ability, because we are equipped with these senses, to attract us all the time, 24 hours. But the solution is the same. Prabhu mentioned earlier on, think about Krishna, remember Krishna, hear about Krishna. So that is the same process. And by doing so, our objects, even though they are coming in touch, they will be focused on how to engage this in the service of Krishna, and the chances of us planting too many material desires will reduce. May not disappear at our stage, but will reduce. Also, Srila Prabhupada says we have to develop higher taste of spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord. So, all of us are here because somehow or the other we have got experience of this higher taste. We could be doing so many activities at this point in time. I'm sure there are so many things to do in Abu Dhabi on a Friday evening, many attractions and so many engagements. But somehow, by Krishna's mercy, Srila Prabhupada's mercy, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Gauranga, we develop this taste that we coming together, we're doing Shravan of Bhagavad Gita as it is, hearing about Krishna. And you see, it's so simple. If somehow or the other, very sincerely, every day, in the morning, or when we are very agitated, or in the evening, if we just open any of Srila Prabhupada's books, any, and just read a little bit, most agitations of our mind will go away. Because we'll understand what is the root cause. Root cause. Srila Prabhupada said that he says the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his desires. Correct? Does anybody have that experience? Slightest thought. Any example anybody would like to give? Slightest thought arose and then we went into a Dizzy.
Due to conditioning, somebody turns up some movie, or then the whole movie actually plays in the mind.
Movie plays in the mind, right? And how many hours is a movie? 3 hour movie, but at least for 15-20 minutes it will go on, right? Next thing that will happen is you'll take out the phone from your pocket, type the name of the movie, type the name of the song, right? And then see the snippet. Before you know, 3 hours are gone. Correct? Slight desire. And you can apply to anything that happens in one's life. Anything. Think about it. Yourself, you contemplate. And if you have a funny example, you can share with us. Yes. Please, this is personal experience. Sometimes I watch this election results and all. Yes. The result is already announced, but somehow my mind goes again to watch that result again and again. Might be because it's in my favor or something. Correct. But I somehow get some some enjoyment that I watch again. Already the result is to come. So this sort of it agitates. Correct. That's a very, I mean, nice, and it happens to many people. Election, cricket,
Especially India Pakistan cricket.
especially India and Pakistan cricket match, or our favorite actor or actress's movie. Currency rate, yes. Currency rate fluctuating. Gold rate fluctuating. See, Mataji is so kind. She is sharing the realities. Realities. And all of this happens. And trust me, you can take a pen and paper now or your mobile phone, you list down the things. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked how Krishna, how much my mind is able to do in a single day. How many desires. What we don't realize is how many desires we have implanted in that moment. Just contemplating on that sense object. So many desires have we implanted. And then it will take a lifetime to get rid of them. In 1 hour, you can plant enough desires to spend 100 lifetimes in this material world. Yes, you can easily do it. Right? I'll give you a simple example. Let's say you build the desire that I want to become Brahma, or let's say Indra. So, what is the requirement for becoming Brahma or Indra? For Indra, right? That's 100 Ashwamedha yagya. And what is the Bhagavatam saying? If you lead your life 100 lifetimes, then what will you get? What position? Brahma. Right? So imagine you just simple desire, Prabhu, nothing big. I'm saying I want to become Brahma. So I told you 100 lifetimes will go. Done? 100 lifetimes gone. Such a simple desire. Now somebody has a desire, I want to become a millionaire. Gone. So like this. And just see the beauty of Bhagavad Gita as this. Lord Krishna's instructions are so powerful and so scientific. Something that nobody can understand or analyze, Lord Krishna has analyzed in one verse, and by mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada said, this is what is happening. Now become Krishna conscious and try to regulate this. Okay. So it's 8:21. I'll pause here. If you want to have some discussions or any questions, we can take that up. And if there's more time, then we'll read more from Srila Prabhupada's purport. Yes, Prabhu.
In this verse, we talk about Sangha. So obviously, this Sangha is related to the sense objects. But I would like to hear from you more about the Sangha that can bring us to Krishna consciousness, because Adho Shraddha and then Sadhu Sangha, right? So that is where the stepping stone for Krishna consciousness starts. So for Sadhu Sangha, how we should have the Sadhu Sangha, what kind of Sadhu Sangha we should have that can ensure that we remain in the pure consciousness or Krishna consciousness, and our thoughts, our desires that may, or contemplation that may have on the material objects, that can be transformed and purified.
Yes, thank you for sharing this and asking this point about Sangha. So, in the Nectar of Instruction, it is mentioned, one should always the association of a person who's more Krishna conscious than us. Because only a person who's slightly above us can pull us up. Otherwise, who's going to pull us out of the well of darkness? So whoever we can find who is slightly more Krishna conscious, or if there are some specific anarthas that we suffer from, all of us have some classic anarthas. Uh, we should look for those devotees or friends who are who have overcome those anarthas and spend time with them. But then, when you see that they're happy without that, you feel, why am I wasting my life? So, just that little bit. And of course, then there are sadhus, and they are very potent. By being with them, hearing from them, associating with them, taking guidance from them, one can elevate one's Krishna consciousness. So, everybody, it's very important for all of us. Sangha means where we feel inspired to remember Krishna. And Sangha means where we slowly are encouraged to give up things which are not useful for spiritual life. And by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, ISKCON has centers around the world. We have Sangha here in Avataridesh. I mean, who could have imagined that when we came here to work in such an environment, who could have imagined that we'll actually get an opportunity to come hear Krishna Katha, be with devotees, discuss how to progress in Krishna consciousness, honor Krishna Prasadam. It's magical, right? Magical. Can you imagine what life would have been if this was not there? It's so harsh. It's so harsh. So that is simple way Sangha. What does Sangha essentially mean? Very, very big gatherings? Not necessary. Sangha means having some good relationship with devotees with whom dadati pratiganati goyam akhyati prichati bhumte bhojate cha eva, with those who will help us, where we can reveal our heart, share our problems. This is what I'm feeling. Even two people can have nice Sangha. And even if that is not there, then what do? Huh? And so many facilities are there with technology. You can hear, you can read, you can associate with devotees. Even if you're not in the place, you can get onto an online discussion, hear from them. That is the essence of Sangha, very important. So if you have the right Sangha, then this kind of a Sangat will go away. And that's what Srila Prabhupada said. You have to engage that in the service. A lot of us, devotees or otherwise, when we came here, we were hanging around with our friends, which is good. There's no problem in that. Weekends were spent with them. We were spending a lot of time, but our frustrations were only increasing. Our desires were increasing. But somehow, when we come within the Sangha of the devotees, we feel more peaceful, we feel more happy. So, these books are very potent. They have saved hundreds and millions of lives around the world. And Srila Prabhupada wanted these books to be distributed widely. Why? Because just by reading one paragraph, somebody's life can be saved. So, Srila Prabhupada's one primary instruction, and practically all the sadhus, sannyasis, gurus in our movement, including His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, uh, their heart was in book distribution. Print and distribute books widely. because someday you can speak with somebody, you may be there, not there, but the books are there. If the books are there, they'll open in different languages. Srila Prabhupada's books are available. They can read, they can take inspiration from there. So now the very important month of book marathon is coming. In book marathon, it would be very nice if everybody distributes books. Here, if you have some physical books, they can be shared with people who are coming for our programs. They can take books. And after that, if you have in your towns and cities, you can get books delivered, order books through e-marathon also, enroll, distribute as many books as possible. Prabhu is doing book distribution in villages, schools. So like this, just distribute the books. A lot of times devotees say, oh, we are so busy, we don't have the time to do it. No problem. Somehow or the other contribute. If you cannot go door to door, just make phone calls to your friends. In your office, if there are some favorable people, encourage them without agitating others. Encourage them to take books. So I think it is the duty of everyone. You know what happens sometimes in WhatsApp, you get messages. You read this message, if you feel benefited, you should forward it to 100 people, correct? This same way, we are also, they actually they stole that from our movement. You get one book, you distribute to many. So WhatsApp, they learned from us, distribute messages. So this is the real message of Srila Prabhupada's message, or Krishna's message, can go through only by distributing the books. So please do that. Yes. Yeah.
So, when Prabhupada says that this can be controlled if you have a contemplation directed towards Krishna, but there are also circumstances where the external environment is really so agitating to the senses. So then is it recommended to change your external environment or situation, and how does one make this decision? Because you don't want to renounce prematurely. You may think, oh, I'm fed up with this environment and you want to leave it, but what if that's premature?
So typically, depending upon the environment, how strong the environment is, just leaving the environment and going somewhere else may facilitate a little bit, but it will not solve it. How far will you run and how much will you run away from environments? Right now, maybe your circumstances allow you to be in a different environment. But better is to develop one's Krishna consciousness. The whole principle of Yukta Vairagya, try to engage everything in the service of the Lord. But everybody has to measure how much they're able to tolerate. If it comes to a point that the things are just too alluring and it's completely destroying one's spiritual life, better to exit. If you have that confidence in Krishna, if you believe in the philosophy, if it's getting a bit too much, it's going to destroy one's spiritual life completely, then withdraw from such a situation. But as householders, many don't have the option. Because as householders, you have to take up work and you cannot always pick and choose. You cannot pick and choose who's your boss, who are the people around you. You get a job in a particular country. So depending on how difficult the country is, better to become more and more strong in one's Krishna consciousness. That's the better formula. At least in terms of ISKCON as a movement, our purpose is to, Srila Prabhupada encouraged us all to go out and preach. Preaching means you will be surrounded by situations where there will be many allurements. At least in this movement, the focus is to strengthen, make yourself strong, go out and preach. So that should be our attempt. If it gets too much, then take Sangha. Take Sangha of devotees who can protect you. And this is a nice Sangha. It offers protection. And move on. Okay, so let's have some more discussions.
Yeah, thank you for a wonderful lecture. In connection to Prabhu's Sangha, Sal Sangha, in order to be able to develop enriching experience, sadhu sangha, enriching sadhu sangha, how we can actually able to kind of develop or kind of have this enriching sadhu sangha experience. What I mean enriching sadhu sangha experience. So we always deal with, I mean, devotee. When it comes to devotee deal with the Krishna. Of course, to some extent, Krishna's energy. On the other side, material people largely they extend, to the extent that they deal with Krishna's energy, material energy. So according to our wish, our desire to deal with whom we are dealing. If you are dealing with it, devotee, we have that kind of what do you call? We also become we in that energy, Krishna's energy. Basically, we try to embody, we try to follow them. So we also feel blissful, because the more we get sadhu sangha, we also become blissful in that process. But within that, our interactions, say interaction and transactions. So when we interact at our boundary, we feel good. But the moment we step out of the interaction to the transaction, if you are not able to get from the devotee, because it is transaction, so we feel sort of, if we don't get that transaction the way we want it, we feel dejected. So that becomes sort of, I feel, even though we are interacting devotee, sadhu sangha, but because when it becomes a transaction, and if it's not happening the way we wanted, then it is not actually giving an enriching, sadhu sangha experience. How we can actually cultivate this, to get that kind of, enriching sadhu sangha, irrespective of, the situations.
So, therefore, Srila Prabhupada made sure that everybody who takes spiritual initiation has the word das or dasi in the end. The word das and dasi ensures that we should have the mood of serving the other person. And when we have the mood of serving the other person, then it cannot be transactional. Because you're not expecting something, you're simply serving them. So therefore, when we sign off your servant in our messages, in our emails, or we say, I am Tapan Misra Das, we should remember this, that we are being trained to serve. The best thing about the movement is the training we get to serve others, because we are so entangled in serving our mind and our senses. So when we serve others, transaction disappears because we don't have the expectation. And you very rightly said, the moment we have expectation of something in return, it becomes transactional.
Yeah.
It's not spiritual anymore.
It's not spiritual anymore.
It's not at all spiritual. Sometimes there's a thin line between saying I'm doing it for Sri Guru and Krishna and doing it for myself. And that an intelligent person should draw that line. Because if you don't use that intelligence and start for my own personal purposes, things I'm doing, and I try to cover it up by saying, oh, for the program or for this or that, it will destroy our spiritual life. So I request, or I also try, that when there's something transactional, keep it separate. You can very clearly tell the devotee, hey Prabhu, I'm facing this problem. I need help in this, but this has got nothing to do with my spiritual life, per se. So that is one way to approach. And the other thing is, after all the training, many of our Maharajas have given such nice lectures on this topic. They talk about love. Krishnendriya Priti is what? When we try to please the senses of Krishna or Krishna's devotee, that's love. And when we try to please our own senses, etc., that's called Kama. Yes. And okay, one second. And then it becomes lust. And what is the result of? We just read it, right? Kama, Krodha, Abhicharite. So it leads to that. So, nice Sangha essentially means that mood is there to serve together, serve Krishna, expand the movement. And it's very easy to see that. Very easy. So then the next question is, should we be at all transactions? Should we not help each other? Yes, we should try to help each other. Try to help each other. Build friendships, good friendships. Try to serve each other. Anyways, we are serving. Either we're serving Krishna and Krishna's devotees, or we're serving our own senses. Better to serve Krishna and Krishna's devotees. At least we'll get some sukriti from that. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, sure, Guru. Largely, yes. Thank you so much. But because the understanding is that we are devotee. We always wanted to have that the benefit of coming together. Satsanga, and that spiritually uplift, enlighten each others. But because of individuals, according to what they interact, what their expectations, that actually basically it is not conducive sometimes. I'm just being practical and very
sometimes it may be not conducive, and when it's not conducive, there are various ways to address it. Withdraw from the situation if it's disturbing too much. Or very humbly say, Prabhu, I'm sorry, I'm not able to do this. That's all. That's all. And it's good to evaluate that. Good to evaluate that. Otherwise, very quickly, a Sangha can degenerate into just transactional thing. Then sooner or later, devotees will lose interest, they will not feel nourished, etc.
Bhakti itself is a very joyful process.
It should be.
It's a joyful process.
Yeah.
But on the contrary, why we experience distress when we are actually practicing bhakti? It's very.
So we experience distress because of
not
our
able
karmas.
to understand that fact. Actually.
One is we express distress because of our karma. We express distress because of too many desires, expectations. And there's one kind of distress where Srila Prabhupada said you can take. You can take stress for Krishna. That is also there. So you see all of our Maharajs, etc., all these devotees, they take so much stress on their head. That you can take. So bhakti doesn't mean there will not be any stress. All of you are so stressed. First 5 days of working in office, and after that 2 days of overtime. Correct? Stressful. But you must get joy out of it. So stress, we can take that stress, but other transactional things, doesn't. Stress is not very good.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so what else shall we discuss? Any other topics anybody wants to take up?
Can you take the topic of mind and intelligence? Lust is residing in mind and intelligence. Can you just share?
I'm not so intelligent to describe it for mind and intelligence, so much I can try. So mind has...
This can be 3.40 pro. Describe.
So you see 3.40, so I should open that up first. Mind and intelligence. Okay. Let's go there. Shall we? It's a long report. I'll tell you in brief. So, where does lust reside?
Yeah, that is why I asked you this question. We cannot control the mind, so is it possible to control our intelligence so as to support the mind?
So you see, the word mind is described in the scriptures in different ways. In some verses, the mind is the soul and the mind are described similarly. In some verses, mind has a function, is given a very binary function of saying yes or no, accept and rejection. That's the function of the mind. Then there's intelligence. So, the intelligence the spiritual intelligence that is referred to in Bhagavad Gita comes from Shastra Chakshu, by which one gets clarity. Essentially, spiritual knowledge by which one gets clarity to then guide the mind whether to accept or to reject. Accept what is conducive and reject what is not conducive for Krishna consciousness. Right? The desires, the seeds, they reside in our consciousness. They reside. And when they come to the surface, the mind will say yes or no. If our mind is not controlled by spiritual intelligence, it will say yes to every single desire. And then it opens up the gates to hell. What do you do? Uncontrolled mind, it goes on. So that's why in the Bhagavad Gita it is said that the intelligence is above the mind. And above that is Ankar. And above that is the soul, Atma. So our consciousness, spirit soul is surrounded by so many subtle body and gross body. The purpose of Krishna consciousness is to purify our gross body by cleaning ourselves and everything, and also to, by chanting the holy name, to purify our subtle body. And purification of the subtle body means these desires, whatever is conducive, they can be engaged in the service of Krishna, and what is not conducive, you just have to try and reject it from the mind. Is it okay? Hare Krishna. Okay, anything else? Any other topics?
But the basic question, why did we got a mind? What is the reason? Because of, we have intelligence, we have ego, we have this mind. So why the mind has come with the intelligence?
Okay.
So why the option has given to it? Why not it's one only?
You can consider it as one apparatus. See, when you have a computer in front of you, either you can put something in the browser and gives you a result, and say, some simple person will say, I got this Google search result. But a person who understands the machine, he'll say there's a browser. The browser is running on an operating system. The operating system is running on a disk, an underlying system that's running on a binary system, which is running on a chip, right? So for a simple person, the analysis are in your mind. They don't distinguish between mind, intelligence, false ego, blah, 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 just mind. But for those who understand it more, the distinction is given. So the mind's role, the way it is described, is something that says yes or no. It's amongst the six senses, the mind is considered the topmost. The scientists will call it the brain. At the end of the day, let's say if you want to eat something, some faculty has to, it appears externally that the hand is lifting it up. But do you think if the brain was not to give that instruction, the hand will be able to lift it up? No, right? So in normal understanding, understood, the mind and brain is considered the same. It's the topmost of the senses, by the way, the mind. It can use all the senses the way it wants. So that's why it said that first make the mind peaceful. The mind is not peaceful, it can create chaos. And if somebody can control the mind is considered the best friend or the worst enemy. So it has a certain purpose. Intelligence has a certain purpose. And that's why they exist. Ego also has a certain purpose. Right? Always, sometimes we understand ahankar or false ego, but there's also ego. Ego essentially means what's my identity? Who am I? Am I a servant of Krishna? That's an ego. Good ego. And there's false ego. So all of these have a certain purpose to fulfill. And that's why they exist. Just like in a body, in a gross body. All of these faculties have a certain purpose. You have eyes, you have hands, you have nose, you have ears, you have mouth. Imagine, Prabhu, if somebody says, why this is given, no need. Everything else is there, no need. If you had no mouth, what will happen? everything will collapse. So it's a complex mechanism that is created. Everything is given for a purpose. There is a very nice book called Transcendental Psychology, written by Suhotra Maharaj. If you like this topic, you can read that. And it describes the primary forms of the Lord Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. They are all the worshipable deities for false ego, intelligence, mind, and so on. Vasudev for pure consciousness. So it's described there. Thank you for asking. Any other topics? Anything else comes to our mind that you want to ask? Okay, so we have come to 8:48. We will try to now do a bhajan about the mind. Okay, we'll do a bhajan on the mind and then we'll close the program with that bhajan. So, all of you probably know this bhajan. It's a very favorite bhajan. Srila Prabhupada sang this bhajan many times. And it talks about the mind. So who wants to guess what that bhajan is called? Yes, yes. So, Bhajan. So I'll first read the translation given by in our Vaishnava Acharya's book. O mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nanda, which makes one fearless. Fearless. Having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean of worldly existence through the association of saintly persons, the Sangha that we're talking about. Both in the day and night I remain sleepless, suffering the pains of the heat and cold, the wind and the rain. For a fraction of flickering happiness, I have uselessly served wicked and miserly men. What assurance of real happiness is there in all of one's wealth, youthfulness, sons and family members? This life is tottering like a drop of water on a lotus petal. Therefore, you should always serve and worship the divine feet of Lord Hari. It is the desire and great longing of Govinda Das to engage himself in the 9 process of bhakti, namely hearing the glories of Lord Hari and chanting those glories, constantly remembering him and offering prayers to him, serving the Lord's lotus feet, serving the Supreme Lord as a servant, serving him as a friend, and completely offering the Lord one's very self. Beautiful bhajan by Govind Das Kaviraj. Bhajahu re mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindari. Bhajahu re mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindari. Bhajahu re mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindari. Bhajahu re mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindari. Durlabha Manava Janama Satsange
Tapan Misra Prabhu ki.
So today, I must share there's also another nice occasion. Prabhu and Mataji's marriage anniversary. How many years?
Still counting. Forgotten.
See, it's so nice. I'll tell you, at least 25, right?
28.
28. That itself is a big achievement, right? This is amazing. Joy of Krishna consciousness being together for 28 years. We don't realize this, but if you actually walk out in this world, marriages don't even last for 28 months anymore. It's a fact. It's a fact. So, we are going to chant Hare Krishna for Prabhu and Mataji for all their service, and also pray to Krishna together. They have many, many years of serving together, Srila Prabhupada's movement with. They are doing so much, and may Krishna provide more and more opportunity to serve more. So we'll chant for them together. Yeah? Hare
Hare Krishna, thank you very much, Prabhu, for your wonderful class. Very relevant topic. I think we all struggle when it comes to the mind level, and it gets more difficult when we say minding our mind. So, thank you very much. So, Prabhu's class will continue tomorrow. We have one more session. So, humble request to all the devotees to please attend tomorrow's session also, which is in the Ream Island, Marina Square. We'll put the details of the address in the our Yatra group at Her Grace Manoharni Mataji's house at 7 p.m. onwards. And Prabhu will be giving class on Bhagavatam in our Sunday morning hall program starting at 7:30 a.m. So kind request to all the devotees to please come on time and take maximum advantage of Prabhu and Mataji's wonderful association. And many, many thanks to all the devotees for your wonderful prayers. We humbly seek all the devotees' kind wishes and prayers so that we remain engaged and continue to perform our whatever little seva or service we are able to perform for the pleasure of our Guru Maharaj, Sri Prabhupada, and for the pleasure of God Nitai in the Lordships. So thank you so very much for each and every devotee for your kind prayer and wishes. Please continue to keep us in your prayers so that we can continue to perform our spiritual duties and follow our instructions of our Guru Maharaj. Thank you so very much. So we have prasadam for all. So Matajis can come forward first.